This video is going to be an examination of one of my favorite two-play sequences of the 2024 season. It also happens to be a damn near foolproof way to defeat Sticks Blitz Zero. And in this case, it's Jared Goff against the Minnesota Vikings. He really riddled that defense, whether they were in pressure looks, dropping out. It seems as if he had a great understanding of what those guys were trying to do on defense in almost every situation. We're going to pick this up. This is Week 18. The Lions win this game 31-9, but in the first half, there were some difficulties. I think an early interception, only go into halftime with a 10-6 lead in favor of Detroit. This is a 3rd and 12. This is actually their second possession, a mid to late first quarter. And I just think this is an amazing sequence that gives you an idea of the things that quarterbacks have to process for many snaps, especially when you're playing against a Brian Flores defense. So I'm letting this run slow so you guys can see what's happening here. Reload Jahmyr Gibbs back into the backfield after Minnesota changes their look. I'm going to break all this down a little bit here in a moment, but I love the chess match that's happening here. It almost seems to be a chess match on top of a chess match because Jared Goff wins this particular rep, but the Vikings would take it. And what I mean by that is Jared Goff is trying to create a manageable 4th down. He could possibly hit Amon-Ra St. Brown, late coming over the middle here, if there weren't the possibility of pressure getting to him beforehand. So he's just taking this route to Tim Patrick. Fortunately for the Vikings, it's a 3rd and 12. And so in this case, what they think is a win, it's a win for both sides, really, because it creates a manageable 4th down for Goff and the Lions offense. So let's break it all down. It's a trip set out of 11 personnel. I should say bunch to the field. And Jahmyr Gibbs is set up as the running back to Goff's right. So look at all the movement that occurs with 6 or 7 or maybe even 8 players for the Vikings. Specifically, number 44 right here. He moves from being an outside corner to being an inside blitzer. And then Goff has motioned Gibbs down, shifted him down. And he being Goff, he's already reloading the play. So he's already calling for Gibbs to come back. And what I think is really notable about this, besides Goff's clear attempts at manipulation based upon his understanding of the Vikings defense, is Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's ready to motion right now. He saw the same exact thing that Goff did. And he's actually leaning it a little bit like, hey, when are you going to send me a motion? What are you waiting for? Goff, to me, knew what was happening with this play right around in this area. I don't know how. I think I understand about 40 to 45% of this, but it might actually be less, to be honest with you. He sends St. Brown in motion, and it's not a motion to the boundary to find something out because of where the ball's snapped. The ball's going to be snapped when St. Brown is in this area. If it was the type of motion to find something out, he would motion him across and set him up, and that's not what occurs. Here's the routes that happen. This is St. Brown who went in motion, and like I said, didn't set or stop. He just kept in motion on the snap. This is the route that's going to kind of be open a little bit late, all right, if Goff thought he had more time. The pressure, probably created a nice internal clock that favored the Vikings. So this is Tim Patrick from the other side of the field, and he's bringing his route across. Fortunately for Minnesota, 44 is dropping out of here. Again, he lined up at outside corner to the tight end side, essentially to cover the tight end, and then motioned down to be a potential blitzer. I think he's reading out of this, so it's somewhat a little bit of chance. And again, it's Tim Patrick on the completion on a 3rd and 12. Goff is already getting rid of the football before Patrick has cleared, and it's too soon, clearly, for him to be throwing the ball to St. Brown over the middle. So it's a win for the Vikings and a win for the Lions in the way that they played offense in 2024 and probably the way they'll play in 2025 as well. I just love what happens here in the next 10 seconds. So this is the same play from the end zone angle. Next 10 seconds from now, how he calmly recognizes what the Vikings are doing and then reloads things to bring Gibbs back. Because for whatever reason, he thinks he understands exactly what these guys are doing. And I think 44 actually makes a mistake here. So what I mean is 44 starts to slide back to his original position over the top of Laporta, and he's looking at Harrison Smith, who seems to be the adjuster here, if you ask me, on this play. and the next one. If this examination is too in depth or too detailed, forgive me for that. But again, the ball's going to be snapped here for prior to St. Brown setting up. It's while he's in motion. And look at how the Lions have handled it. It ends up working out perfectly. Why? Because 44 drops out of here. Remember, he drops out and really gets in the window of Tim Patrick's route. I mean, look at when this ball was thrown. Patrick has not cleared 44 because of the layering, the depth that 44 is at, or I should say is not at. Goff recognizes that he can throw it to Patrick anyway. And number one, I think Griffin makes a tackle. But let's look at 44, how he does this. This is a read, whether it's stick split 0 or not. What I mean when I say a read is he is reading the inside lineman. The lineman lined up to his inside. All right, so that's Frank Ragnow, who's obviously since retired. And the way this works in a lot of these iterations is if this lineman steps away from you, then you blitz. If this lineman steps to you, step to him, briefly get hands on or maybe come close to touching him, just occupy him, and then you drop out and read the quarterback's eyes. Now, that last part to that, read the quarterback's eyes, it could be different depending on the coverage and how it's taught. But you can see he gets engaged by Ragnow because the Lions are sliding everyone here. It makes sense, right? There's only 2 blitzers or 2 potential rushers lined up on this side and 5 over here for the Vikings. So it makes sense for the Lions to be sliding it that way. I don't believe that either one of these 3 guys is reading it at all. I think it's just a hard-coded rush. 44 drops out. We've covered it enough. Hopefully you get an understanding of what I understand, which, again, is probably 35, 40, maybe 45% of what's happening here. Can't blame a 44 Metellus, a very versatile guy, for thinking this is a win, but you're playing the Detroit Lions. It's a 4th and 5 now. Second possession in the first quarter. Yeah, you could kick a field goal from this area with Jake Bates, and he's got the leg certainly to handle a lot of it. But let's break in, let's play, and I think this is a damn near unstoppable route combination against stick split 0. Oh, by the way, that's Metellus 44 here, and Goff is going to motion St. Brown across, and as soon as he starts doing this, bringing St. Brown across, then he switches to another hand signal. And I wonder, I speculate, if he knows he's going to get some type of reaction here. And he certainly does. Again, that's complete speculation on my part. So what I mean is when Goff is motioning, is putting his 2 hands to the side of his helmet after he motions St. Brown across, it's an immediate reaction from Harrison Smith. You'll see it a little bit if I let this run slow, that Harrison Smith literally puts his foot in the ground and changes the call completely. Not when St. Brown motions across, but when Goff puts his hands and his fingers to his helmet, indicating something to the rest of the team. And what Harrison Smith switches everything to is stick split 0. So stick split 0 has all these guys up in the box. There's 44, by the way. And what we're talking about is these 4 players here that are generally reading the quarterback and sometimes the route release. And in this case, the route that kills them is the drag from the bottom side, the boundary. Jamison Williams. It's gonna be they're lucky that this doesn't go for 6. The drag that emanates from this side of the field and works its way to the top side. Watch this DB's reaction. This is a killer against stick split 0. This DB basically releases Jamison Williams underneath. That's a zone reaction, right? But people call stick split 0 a man coverage. It's really not. It's a little bit of a hybrid. Williams is running underneath, and this guy's released him. Additional to that, because of the, again, high-level recognition by Goff, Ben Johnson, whoever, was responsible for breaking down their coverages and situations and understanding what they would be in, the route at the top of the field is just an occupy. I think it's Tim Patrick here. He's just going to occupy the corner up to the top. You get another option here. St. Brown running the drag. Why? Why are those guys running underneath? Because the DBs are going to release them. The DBs will release them like it's zoned. So we're talking about the reaction of this DB and this DB here to this route and this route by Jamison Williams. They're not running with it. They can't make it there. They're lined up at too high a depth. They're too deep, basically. Along with that, 44, the aforementioned safety / linebacker / whatever you want to call him, he's blitzed, and Goff has already let go of this football for Jamison Williams over the middle. He knew, I think, Goff knew that that is the route that would be open. Just a beautiful, if you ask me, illustration of what these guys can process, especially Goff, in my opinion. I think he's different from a lot of other quarterbacks in the NFL, and I don't pretend to understand all of it, but I'm revealing to you what I think I know, and it's that he understood the Vikings defense based upon down and distance and situation, and he also understood what DB's reactions were going to be to certain route combinations out of a particular coverage. Uh, Initially, 44 is making it look like man. This is the same play, the 4th and 5 completion to Jamison Williams. He's making it look like man because he's lined up over Laporta. Again, to the field. Reference where 44 was at the beginning of the last play. You remember he was lined up to the boundary, and then he shifted to an as a potential blitzer. As soon as Goff makes that motion, Harrison Smith puts his foot in the ground. Boom. He's the one changing this call, shifting 51 over, Bynum 24. He's also adjusting. He knows what they've got. They've totally changed the look here, right, for Goff. Any hesitation, any consternation on the part of Goff's body language here? No. I think he knew that it was coming. He didn't know it was coming. He knew that the route combination they had was one that could defeat it. 7 players on or near the line of scrimmage, 2 of which I think are reading it, and I'm talking about 51 and maybe 43. So if the lineman steps to them, in this case, Sewell and the center, but this could be predetermined, meaning just occupy. So occupy the center, occupy the tackle, and let 44 be the free rusher off the edge if the Lions don't leave the tight end in to block, and they do not. Laporta runs a vertical that is related to the whole route combination. It's designed to hold the safety. And you can see Williams runs underneath. I just love the way that Williams reacts to this here. There is almost a arrogant level of confidence to the fact that he's going to be able to get through all of this. What I mean is the way he catches it and he's gliding to me. That's not really him in 5th gear yet. Maybe it's because of the the route that he runs underneath. Maybe he didn't know exactly what was going to be in front of him, but I think it was just a great illustration of using your talent, using your personnel. That really relies on Goff's ability to recognize things on the field and either recognize that you're already in the right look or how to get you in the right look consistently. And that's one of the skills of Goff that I think is underrated and probably not talked about enough. I know I only discussed 2 plays here, and it's called One Play Wednesday, number one. Second of all, it's not Wednesday when this premieres. It's Saturday morning. So there's a lot wrong with it and a lot, like I said earlier, I admit I don't understand. I just love the chess matches that occur in these games. And for whatever reason, with Goff, I feel like I can recognize a little bit more of it. Maybe it's because the Vikings are so batshit crazy sometimes on defense, and they kind of give their hand away some, such that we as fans, as regular people, can kind of see it and detect it as well. If you enjoyed this type of video, please let me know in the comment section. If other plays from the Lions or Vikings seasons or any other NFL team for that matter, you'd like to see me take a look at or break down, some of it's going to be speculative, just to be upfront, then please let me know in the comment section. Appreciate you guys' time.